How do you study the business and legal dimensions of the art? That's a little bit more difficult because you've got to rely on others. I call it an artist's team. We talk about it in class, but it's become more important. And I might even, the agent is probably the first and most important person in music because they get you employment. Now you must differentiate between the agent, which is an employment agent, it's an easy way to think of it, and a manager. The reason you must differentiate is because around here and most other places that don't have a lot of both, people will represent themselves as both. I'll be your manager and your agent. In California, that's against the law. In New York, it's against the law. And the reason is they have two different functions. In Detroit, we've never had that law, but they've had to be, there was a lot of kind of back and forth at one time about having to register as an employment agent in the state of Michigan. Okay. But in California, you cannot be a talent agent. We have enough talent in California and New York and Nashville to have this kind of differentiation. But you need an agent, an employment agent. You get nobody else. You need an agent because you got to work. You got to get the gigs. You got to keep getting work. The agent's the most important part of your team. The agent probably will not know anything except how to get a job. And you shouldn't rely on an agent for anything else. The next is a business manager. Now you can start relying on a business manager. Oftentimes a business manager will do a lot of negotiating of contracts. One client I had did all his record negotiations with a big company through his agent. And I only took a look at the last product. And it was done beautifully. And there's no reason for me to see it except on a couple technical copyright issues. But after the guy did one record a year for like 10 years, there wasn't a lot of change in those contracts. His manager did it. His manager also got like 12% of his price. And he made a lot of money, so it was a big deal for him. And the manager did everything from getting hotel rooms on the road, and sometimes you'll have a separate room manager for that. But when you're a single person and you're an artist, this was a jazz artist, I mean, you don't really need that. But you need a business manager to take care of things. Sometimes the business manager is also the accountant, but you got to make sure that they have that kind of idea, or they know what they're doing with accounting. I think attorneys are kind of the tail that wags the dog. I know I am one, but I do believe that a lot of times, except in those circumstances where you really have a lot of complicated issues going down, most of the people that I meet need me for certain things and not others. So I just had one client, and it was exactly this way. They have been working with a producer for about a year, and they've come to us 3 times to try and form an organization, an LLC, to handle this. And we can form an LLC in about 3 seconds. But the operating agreement that talks about how they share things is a little more difficult. And I kept sending them away. And I said, why don't you work together and find out exactly how you want to work together? Then I'll put it down. I can't create this. This is your business, not mine. I'm not here to tell you how to work. I'm here supposed to be sitting on your shoulder. I'm the one guy sitting on your shoulder giving you advice. I only work for you. I don't work for your manager, your agent, or anybody else. Find out how you want to do this. And it was a complicated issue because both of them were creating songs. Good ones that have been played all over. And they have a copyright issue on who owns what and when. They now came to me about 2 weeks ago, and they have it all ironed out. And we'll be able to do the documents in 10 days. But I couldn't do that a year ago because they didn't know what they wanted. So I say I'm the tail, I'm not the dog. They're the dog. They control things. And I think you got to treat, you have to go to an attorney, and you can't be in awe of an attorney. If he doesn't, or she doesn't say things that you understand, you don't understand what he or she says, then they're not saying it right. It's not you, it's them. Don't ever walk out of an attorney's office, and we're going to talk a little about that in a minute, and think that, gee, it's too legal, I can't understand it. No, sir. You know, like good writers, good attorneys know how to say things simply so that they're understood. Accountant. We need accountants. Cedric, you just finished. We do need accountants. I need accountants more than ever. We are in a position now where there's a lot of things that can be done in the business of music and theatrical practices that are legitimately expensive and should be known immediately. I would get an accountant probably before I get a lawyer, unless I had a lot of contracts that I had to look at. Money manager is kind of wishful thinking. If you make enough money, you're going to want an investment advisor. Why do I even put it up there? I put it up there because there's a big mistake that a lot of people make. And that is they rely on people that are making money off their investments. Just the fact that they invest in order to get their commissions. Be very suspicious of somebody who, if they sell more of your products, be very suspicious that the trades are correct. And in the music business, and in some of the other entertainment industries, sometimes when you get a big slug of money, it's about the only money you're going to get for a while. So you don't want to do things with it that are crazy. And you get a temptation. If you get a 6 or 7 figure check, sometimes the temptation is to do some crazy things. And I jump all over that. And sometimes I put it right in trust for my client and make sure they work on an allowance. Because I want it to be there for their kids. You know, because in 2 years they may be out of it. But then they still have the money. But that's why I put it out there, actually. I don't invest it, by the way. I can't invest it. I'm not allowed to. Okay. First job is to market the product. What is the product exactly? Is it words, music? I don't know. Is it text? Is it sound records? Is it images? Is it charts? Is it choreography? Internet images and or sounds? Any other thoughts? I mean, I don't know what your product's going to be. Well, think about what I just said. I don't know what your product's going to be. You do not walk into my office with a product written across your head. You might have recorded something, but I don't know what product it's going to turn out to be. You might think you're going to sell a record. Record's kind of an old-time term. You think you're going to, but I don't know that for sure. I have to hear the story before we know what we got to protect. And most of the time, unless those people have been to me before, they're already got a situation where we have to remedy something. And you will see in copyright exactly what I mean. You can't go into a studio, create, with an engineer there, with 3 or 4 side musicians, and somebody else producing, and think that you own that song. Because all of them helped to create. And you better know how to walk into a studio and give them something right away that says, you're doing this for me, I'm paying you. It's the biggest mistake people make. So anyway, once we define the product, then we have to protect it, and then we have to market it. Protecting it is kind of an interesting problem. So here's the theoretical dilemma. It's a balance. This is copyright law. It's a balance between users and owners. When is it that a user should take precedence over the owner? In the Copyright Act, the United States Copyright Act, did you take that course?
Your course?
No, not mine.
Because I did take your course. Copyright, no.
See, you went to law school, see?
I'm a first year, so I am not taking copyright.
The United States Copyright Act, the first section of the United States Copyright Act, tells you what the exclusive uses are and what it protects. But the second section tells you what's fair use. It tells you what you can use without copyright, without worrying about infringing. It's called fair use. The very next section. It's a very interesting juxtaposition. And there you have the reason. There's a balance. In a book in 1994 by the professor emeritus at Stanford called Copyright's Highway, he calls it copyright optimist, and copyright pessimist. Still one of the best books on copyright ever written, even though it's out of date, because he talks about the theory of copyright.